Hi everyone and welcome to Dave's Bucket. Let's go to South Africa. All right, so let me tell you about the trip before we depart. Bucket list trip for sure to South Africa, including a few days in Cape Town as well as a safari in Kruger National Park. It's not quite as exotic or chaotic as my last trip, I guess I would say, where I visited 3 countries, 11 flights, 5 airlines, 7 hotels, cruises, tours, etc., etc. That was my trip to Vietnam and Cambodia just a few weeks ago. So hopefully you will check that 11-part series out. On this trip, just 1 country, 3 hotels, 2 airlines. So not quite as much to report on, but the destination is awesome nevertheless, and it is a very long trip. So also the wife's going with me on this one. She's been looking forward to safari for a number of years, and we finally were able to schedule that. And so that will be awesome having her with me instead of being solo like my last couple of long distance trips. She's not an on-camera personality. She doesn't like to contribute and you know be shown on camera, but that's okay. So you're stuck with me. So what's this trip all about? We will be flying just a short 30-minute flight down to Atlanta, where we will fly nonstop to Cape Town, 15-hour flight, 3 days in Cape Town, and then we will be flying Airlink, the local South African carrier, up to Skukuza Airport, which is near Kruger National Park, where we'll be checking into a resort for 5 days of safari, then down to Johannesburg for just 1 night to reposition for the 17-hour flight home nonstop to Atlanta. So that's what our trip's all about. We'll be headed down to Atlanta, and I will check in next from the Delta Sky Club in Atlanta to talk a little bit more about the trip. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for visiting Dave's Bucket. Please, 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 if you enjoy this content, give me a thumbs up. Most of all, subscribe. All that good stuff, and comments are also very much appreciated. Please check out some other content for Asia. I've got Thailand, I've got Cambodia, I've got Vietnam, I've got a trip to India, I've got a cruise, I've got a West Coast drive here in the United States. So lots of good content. Please check that out. And thank you again for visiting. I will check in again when we get to Atlanta. All right, so welcome to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport, the world's busiest airport. Just arrived on our very uneventful 30-minute flight into Atlanta, and we have a long layover before boarding our flight to Cape Town. I am in the D Concourse Delta Sky Club. Normally I would be over on E or F, the international concourses. In fact, our flight leaves from E, but this D Club just opened 3 weeks ago, and I heard a lot of good reviews, and I am here now, and I will say it does not disappoint. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't believe how big it is, being on D Concourse. D Concourse had 2 clubs before, both super tiny. One was like a shoebox, and the other one I referred to as the dungeon. And they're both now closed, and this big one is open. It is awesome. Got some pretty good grub, some beef, and they had some prime rib, lettuce wrap thingies. Really good. Of course, wifey and I both ordered ribs on the plane, beef ribs, so I think that's a lot of beef. Anyway, airplane's here. Flight is, we must have a few tailwinds. Flight's about 20 minutes early, so 14 hours and 40 minutes. Not accustomed to eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night, but with the flight being that long, it doesn't make any sense to go right to sleep, which is what I do on, to Europe, 9 or 10 hours. I don't even eat on the plane. I just go right to sleep. But this long flight, I'll go ahead and indulge. And Delta has some new fancy Taittinger champagne, so I'm going to try that. And eat my beef ribs and then try to get some sleep. We get to Cape Town 6 o'clock at night, get to the hotel 7-ish, go right to bed. That's the plan. Hopefully that will work out. But you can see the club here. It's really, really nice. And we are settled in and we've got some time to kill. But chill, it's not even that crowded, which is... Normally Delta Sky Clubs are so packed you can't even move, but this is quite enjoyable. Good way to start the trip. So I will check in from the plane. All right, so good evening from the plane. We just took off. This is Delta One, my suite. You can see a little bit about the seat, and I'll be reclining into a bed here shortly after din. Ribs, salad, soup, shrimp, and some Taittinger champagne. They have a mid-flight meal of a burger and then breakfast before landing, which is kind of weird since we get in at 6 o'clock at night, but anyway, looking forward to my champagne. My dinner, and after the champagne with dinner, I'm going to have some Sauvignon Blanc from South Africa to celebrate the trip. So let's see, well, you have to leave the door open for takeoff and landing, and then of course the meal will be here soon, so I'll leave my door open, then it shuts. Got a nice little bed cover, slippers, pillow, blanket, amenity kit. Can't beat it. So I'm gonna sit back and relax and wait for my warm nuts and my champagne. All right, so here is the meal. Got some bread, some soup, salad, shrimp, beef ribs with mashed potatoes and spinach, fancy butter, and Taittinger champagne. Looks good. I wanted you to see it before I dig in. I'm not sure why it was all served on one plate. That's hardly business class service, but anyway, looks good. Getting ready to dig in. All right, here's the next course. This is a little dessert. I chose the cheese plate, and I have switched from Taittinger champagne to Sauvignon Blanc from South Africa. So there's dessert. Time for bed. All right, good morning. For morning my time, afternoon in Cape Town, 10 hours into the flight, 5 hours remaining. Had a nice dinner and about 6 hours of sleep. You can see I've got they give you a little bed cover and stuff, and really was quite comfortable. Dinner was very good. I don't like the way they just throw it at you as one tray, but they assume people want to go to sleep, right? So anyway, this is working out well, and I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see the mid-flight meal. All right, well, I've got my burger, some condiments, coffee, because it's 6 in the morning to my body, and a nice Coke. So Also get a view of the TV there, my footwell, and then that's what it looks like with the door shut. 5 hours to go. We have breakfast here. About 3 hours, so I'm going to try to find a movie and chow down on this burger. All right, 1 hour and 12 minutes from Cape Town. And we've got a little breakfast going, even though it's my dinner. Having breakfast for dinner, I've got some eggs, bacon, bread pudding, yogurt, and a muffin of some sort, and a little Coke Zero. So with any luck, I will be at the hotel for the room tour in about 2 hours. Welcome to Cape Town. All right, welcome to Cape Town. Room tour time. Not a whole lot to show you. Holiday Inn Express. Bare bones for sure. This was selected for its location and point value. 40,000 points for 4 nights. So it's actually fairly spacious, but certainly not fancy at all. It's got a little mini bar with waters in it though. That's kind of nice. And let's see the bathroom. Yep. Bare bones accommodations for sure. I can't wait to see what the view is in the morning when it is light out. We're tired, 15-hour flight. Good night. Well, good morning from Cape Point, South Africa. You can see the lighthouse up there and the sea. This was a 2-hour drive from Cape Town. So we have an all-day bus tour to the Cape, and then the Cape of Good Hope we are going to maybe hike to. We have about an hour till we decide whether we take the bus or the hike. It does not seem like a difficult hike, but he said if you're afraid of heights, you might not want to do it. And I'm afraid of heights, but I think the way he described it, it's going to be fine. So I'm leaving it up to the wife. She's not afraid of heights. So I'm leaning towards doing it. But we have about an hour before the hike leaves, and I'm trying to decide if we're going to walk up to this lighthouse or not. Really nice, beautiful drive to get here, but unfortunately, being on the bottom decker of the bus, the top deck was full. You can't really film anything or take any pictures. I don't know if you can see this white out here. That's where the surf hits the rocks, and that's the Lusitania hit that back in the day. Not sure why he was that close to the coast in the first place, but we're getting ready to take this hike. It goes down right here, and we end up out down yonder and then get the bus down below. So, yep, so this is one of the main attractions. It's quite scenic and quite beautiful. Can't believe I'm here. This is awesome. All right, we have made it up to the top by the lighthouse. Can still go the rest of the way, but we do not have a lot of time. But this view is absolutely beautiful. See the beach And I think that's where we're going on the hike, and then we get the bus down on below that cliff there, I think. At least that's the way it looked from the bus on the way here. And there's the parking lot where we just got off the bus down there. So it's walkable to get up here. It's not treacherous at all. It's rather steep. But we took the funicular because we wouldn't have had enough time to walk it. But this is amazing. And the tour guide told us that, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, he said you couldn't see anything because it was so cloudy. So we lucked out today. So we're going to enjoy this for a few minutes, take the tram back down, and then take the hike down through all here and over there and then down. So I lied. I did decide to walk to the top, even though I'm running short of time. I'm going to live dangerously. There's a little sign. London, 9,600 kilometers. New York, 12,000 kilometers. I'm glad I came up here because now you can see everything. We could only see the one side before. We couldn't see this side over here. This doesn't even seem real. It's so beautiful. I can't believe it. Can't believe I'm here. I mean, man, this is like, this is so beautiful. There's the lot where we got off the bus down there. And this is the view we had from that lower level seating area where I took the last shot. And then when you come over here, it goes straight down and it's really far. Awesome.
Sorry.
Excuse me, sorry. So this is the Cape Point Park Historic Lighthouse. All right, I'm gonna make our way back down, and
I'm gonna say again,
wifey said she's gonna skip the hike, and I have about 30 minutes to decide if I'm gonna do it or not. All right, so I'm on this hike. You can see there's the lighthouse where we were earlier. And we just hiked down this path. I don't know if you could see it. And down there is the beautiful beach and cove. There are stairways to get down there, but we're not going down there. But really beautiful, really beautiful. Love it. I'm in South Africa. So we are headed from the top of the Cape down to the bottom and meet the bus down at Cape Point. All right, so parking lots down there. Yeah, I'll be right behind. I'll be on the back end. Just got the camera out and he's already ready to go, but you can see the hillside, and then there is the road that goes to Cape Point, and that is where we're going to meet the bus down there. I could have got some great footage, but I wanted to pay going instead of paying attention to the camera. Out there is that rock the Lusitania hit. Just a point of clarification, not the same Lusitania, the British Lusitania that sunk. This is a Portuguese Lusitania that sunk. So word to the wise, don't name your ship Lusitania. That's super bad luck. On the hike, see some tame animals and some dangerous ones. And all we have seen so far are some ostriches. So I am okay with that. All right, getting ready to head down this trail. Let me shut her down. All right, I have made it back down to the bottom, the Cape of Good Hope, the most southwestern point of the African continent. I just came from up there on the hike, and I had some great vantage points from up top, and now I'm down below. You can see the waves crashing on the rocks over there, right over there. Every once in a while, I saw some that were pretty dramatic there. Well, no, that was not. There you go. There you go. See, he's coming up over the rocks, and all that stuff out there, you might think those are seals and stuff like that. It's actually just seaweed. But out on those rocks are in fact seals. We were up there a minute ago and came down those steps. It was a 45-minute hike from that parking lot down here, and he warned us about heights. He warned us about being strenuous. It was not strenuous whatsoever. And I had no issue with the heights, despite the fact that I don't like heights. But there was some treachery involved. There were a few treacherous points, particularly just this last climbing from up there. That was really treacherous. It would be real easy to roll your ankle, but fortunately I have made it, and man, this place is off the charts beautiful. So we're going to get back on the bus, and next stop is the Penguin area. All right, next stop, this is the Boulders Beach Penguin Colony. So there's a boulder, there's a couple penguins on top, and then most of them are over here. They're on this little boardwalk here, and they can actually go right under, they can go right underneath out to the ocean. They're small penguins, and this is one of two penguin colonies here near Cape Town. Very cool. This is False Bay out here. Quite beautiful. You can see some of those high-end homes up there. And we walked by a nice beach on the way here, but we had to stay with the guide so he could get us in the fast track line so we didn't have to wait. And then you can see out here along the water, there's more of them out there. There it is, False Bay, South Africa, the Boulders Beach Penguin Colony. They're so cute. All right, I think we head straight back to Cape Town from here. What a day. Got lucky with the weather too. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.